When we get students coming into the department with disabilities, Professor Robin Perutz, who's the department's disability officer, he arranges meetings with them at the earliest possible opportunity and has a one-to-one discussion with these students to identify what adaptations they may need, both for lectures and for laboratory work.
With an Asperger's student, the range is immense. So the first thing I would do is try and talk to the student, and if I thought that the Asperger's was a serious problem in the lab, I would do a risk assessment with the student in conjunction with our safety officer. But for many students, this isn't required.
Once Robin's met with these students, he asks them if it's okay to disclose the information to other people so that we can implement any changes that may be needed.
What we try to do very, very carefully is ensure that all the conversations about the student's progress and how we support him or her are done with the student present.
And we treat each student as an individual and deal with their specific needs.
Many students have never done more than an hour or two's practical at a time, yet here they are doing a whole day. They don't know what is really wanted of them to begin with, so for everybody there's a confidence building stage.
Over the past few years we've been making a lot of video resources where we've identified the key techniques in the experiments, and we've filmed students undertaking these, so students can watch these in their own time, in their own homes, sort of the day before the experiment. But we also have them available for them in the lab on the computers, so that when they get to a particular technique in the script, they can have a look on the computer and refresh themselves exactly what they're going to be doing. These video resources have been particularly useful for our students with Asperger's, where they're often feeling embarrassed to ask too many questions. This doesn't replace the role of demonstrators by any means, who will always be happy to help and answer any questions, but it gives them a different opportunity to take a little more control of their own learning.
At that stage there are lots of people around to help, and they're essentially following a recipe, following instructions. But when they get to the more advanced stage, they get to project work, they have to think about what they're doing in a much broader way than before. And that step becomes a major challenge for some of the students with Asperger's. I must stress for some of them, because there are others where you wouldn't notice anything at all.
For all our lab sessions, we undertake feedback sessions after the lab.
What the Asperger's student may be after is not so much the feedback as precisely what it is that you wanted.
A PhD student will identify key areas of misunderstanding, reinforce the key learning points in the experiments, so they can clear up any misunderstandings. Many of the students that come here with Asperger's syndrome are often worried about how they'll work in the lab and whether they'll manage to keep up with everybody else in the year.
The competitive environment is more of a myth than reality.
When the students come into the lab on their first day and they work and they get through to the end of the day and they've made a product that's theirs from the materials they started with in the morning, this really can give them a lot of confidence in what they've done. Making something and being able to present it in a bottle at the end of the day is quite satisfying for our students.
You can excel in lots of different ways. A subject like chemistry is sufficiently wide that you can be outstanding without doing it all. Science is not a race.